So I got up at about 6:30 this morning, and it's actually cleared up quite a bit. The weather this morning was relatively cool, some probably mid-70s. As you can see, there's no wind, and that cloud of smoke just kind of coated the entire eastern side of the valley here. Looking at it from my kitchen window, I was making coffee. I was wondering what was burning, and you can see that it's coming, the plume is coming from over there, and up on the other side of Highway 160 behind the Nugget Casino, there's like a homeless encampment where a bunch of people buy RVs and they live on BLM land up there. I thought it might have been one of those campers burning, but you know, it's 9:15 now and it's been burning for at least 3 hours. So when I took my son Tanner to boxing this morning, I took a drive over there. It's a structure, and unfortunately a little bit of Pahrump history died today. So let's hop in the car real quick and I'll run you over there and I'll show you what it is. So what you're looking at is the old Binion ranch. Over there used to be a mansion. That house was torn down, oh, probably 6 months ago. And then what's left here was a barn and stables for the ranch. I mean, I forget how many acres are here included in this ranch. I think it's 150 acres. A developer bought this property, and he's eventually going to turn it into a strip mall, probably. It looks like the fire department either came out here. It looks to me like the fire department came out here to do a practice burn. Let me go talk to the sheriff. Remember what I said about assuming? This is not a prescribed burn, and it's been burning since 2 o'clock this morning. So it's been burning for a long 7 hours. 7 hours that thing has been burning, and the fire investigator hasn't showed up yet, but it's probably going to be likely arson, probably an accidental fire, probably some homeless or something in there living and made a little fire to keep warm last night because it got chilly last night, or just out and out arson. So that's really unfortunate. But let me see if I can pull up some pictures of the Binion Ranch for you. I guess they didn't pull a burn permit, did they? I went back home after that last clip and I started doing a little bit of research trying to find some pictures of the Binion Ranch. And, you know, I'm sure they're out there. They're just not on the internet. But I did find a couple of news articles about that particular location. Links to those in the description. And also some links to the family history. And one of the interesting stories that you may have heard about in the past, there was an episode of CSI a little over 15 years ago that was on that show that was loosely based around this actual event. Benny Binion bought that property in 1959. What you saw burning today was the stables and the caretaker's house. The main house, the mansion, Benny's place, was destroyed by demolition about 6 months ago. Apparently, after Benny Binion passed away, the place was already old. I mean, I think it was here already when he bought the place, but it had fallen into state of disrepair, and apparently whoever bought the property decided to tear it down. Benny Binion also was the owner of Binion's Horseshoe Casino on Fremont Street in Old Vegas, downtown Vegas. One of his sons took over the casino operations. His name was Ted Binion. And Ted was kind of a playboy. He was and a drug addict. He liked to smoke heroin. And his girlfriend at the time was a stripper. And his girlfriend had allegedly had a lover who was an associate of Ted Binion's, and Ted Binion had a vault moved out to Pahrump for his silver hoard. Ted had a house here in Pahrump. I'll take you by and show you that house. But he also had a house in Las Vegas, and the authorities found him dead one day of an apparent overdose. Well, the day after Ted Binion was found dead in Las Vegas, somebody had notified the Nye County Sheriff here, and they found the lover of Ted's girlfriend out here. He had a trucking company out here with a couple of his buddies unloading the silver from this vault. Then I'm going to take and throw the drone up in the air and give you a bird's eye view of this area. And the one thing I want you to think about is that the buildings that you see here didn't exist then. This area right here, in fact right behind me, was the location of the cotton gin that used to be here back in the 80s. Because believe it or not, cotton was a cash crop here in the Pahrump Valley. Well, I want to take you and show you the site of Ted Binion's silver vault. Just to the off in the distance there, you see the Pahrump Nugget, the Burger King, and the Smith's grocery store. And right behind the Smith's grocery store is this trench. You see it gradually gets deeper. And apparently over in this area was a vault, now filled in with landscaping refuse. Ted Binion liked to deal in cash. He didn't particularly care for credit cards. I can't really blame him. Oh, look, a book. It's actually a Bible. Sometimes as much as $5 grand. He had a reputation for hoarding silver and gold, and apparently there's urban legend that there's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million worth of gold double eagle coins stashed amongst his properties. And based on what I've learned about Ted Binion, there's probably a lot of truth to that legend. The girlfriend and the girlfriend's alleged lover were both tried for a whole host of crimes and convicted and sentenced to 20 to 25 years to life respectively. And upon retrial, the murder convictions were overturned in large part because of the interference in the investigation by the family's private investigator. Let me show you Ted's old place. I don't know, I've always liked this place. A little long in the tooth, but a nice place nonetheless. So up till about a couple of years ago, this pasture out here was actual active grazing land. There were cows grazing off this. You see the irrigation equipment here. This field was lush green. What you see over there is the remains of the mansion, Benny Binion's mansion. You see there's some pretty good sized timbers in that pile. That's where the house sat. So as I understand it, that's the ranch hands' quarters. And the stables. So like I said earlier, the cops I talked to this morning said that this fire started somewhere around, well, they responded to it at 2:30 in the morning. And given the size of the structure and the fact that they were constructed mostly from wood, nearly 100-year-old wood, and it's drier than a popcorn fart here, that blaze, the police officer said that it just illuminated the sky. I don't doubt it. It was probably a pretty good sized fire. It's unfortunate. I still see fire. You see it? Right, where are you? Right there. In that cross beam. A little puff of smoke just popped out. I'm sure at this point they're not going to fire up the engine just to put out a little fire. There's not much left to burn. They're just going to sit here and watch it. Yeah, we're just gonna let it burn. With so little that's left, might as well. Look at all that smoke, just that little corner piece. Well, after 18 hours, 17 hours anyway, it's still smoldering. I don't know if you can see that in there, but inside the house, yeah, there's flames licking in there. Wow. That's probably the timbers that are holding up that water tank. Well, I gotta tell you, man, this is big news here in these neck of the woods. The Binion Ranch burns to the ground. In reality, it was probably all headed for the scrap heap anyway. But I just thought it kind of interesting. Once I started doing a little bit of research on the Binion family and the whole drama back in the late 90s with Ted dying and the intrigue and mystery associated with that case. It just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. So with that in mind, go ahead and check the link in the description for some of the source material that I found today looking into this. Not only about the case of the alleged murder of Ted Binion, but also some of the characters associated with this ranch, in particular the guy that Benny acquired this property from. Also in the description is a link to a couple of books pertaining to that case and the murder trial of Sandy Murphy and Rick Tabish. It's quite a big deal back in the 90s out here. And there's actually a movie that was made about it, and of course the episode of CSI that was made about it. If you haven't done so yet, down underneath this window is a subscribe button. Click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and the bell icon right next to it so you'll be notified of future uploads. If you wouldn't mind, hammer away at that like button and share this with your vast social media network. Could you do that for me, please? Thank you. You're awesome. If you have any questions or comments down in the comment section, that's where they belong. And until next time, you have fun, stay safe, shoot straight, keep your powder dry.
And have a splendid day.
Thanks so much for watching.
I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to my dad's channel, leave a like and share. If you don't like and subscribe, I'm gonna hunt your dreams. That's not true.
Oh yeah, be quiet.
I haunt some of the dreams though.